Cleveland Browns went 11-6 last year. We watched the Cleveland's 9-11 with Nick Chubb losing basically his entire leg. Really reminded me a lot of the Anton Lubchenko from the Simpsons episode. Somehow looked very similar to that. How is that looking for this year? We don't have Flacco anymore. We're going back to Deshaun, unfortunately. Nick Chubb coming back from an injury. Run it down for me, that 2023.
Yeah, I think 2023 for the Browns, when I think about it, I think, oh dear God, everything's on fire.
Yeah, which seems pretty consistent for the Browns, which is somehow they sort of thrive in that.
When you look at their record and when you look at their kind of offensive ranks, pretty good though. For everything being on fire and everyone hurt, 11 wins, that's great. They were 12th in rushing yards, 19th in passing yards. Some of that's inflated by Flacco at the end of the year. He came in, I think he started 5 games and had really good results. But for what they went through with Deshaun Watson missing time, DTR starting at quarterback and being pretty terrible to the point where they signed Joe Flacco off from his couch. I don't know how they got to 19th in passing yards and 11 wins. It's surprising.
It is pretty surprising. I mean, we could talk about defense, but that's not really what we're here for. Their defense was very good, kept them in a lot of things, but really that Flacco connection was... I don't know how you come off your couch and do that at what I assume is 63 years old, but that man can sling the goddamn ball.
Yeah, he loves it.
He loves
Other notable injuries, their top 3 tackles, so both starting tackles, their third rated, however you want to say it, first fill-in, also missed a lot of time last year. The way I described their line for last year was just incredibly hurt, matching a lot of the rest of their roster. Good news for 2024, though. Nothing was really jumping out at me as an off-season departure, and I'm really just seeing additions coming in to fill in some of the notable gaps that we have here. So I've got nobody really worth mentioning leaving. They've traded for Jerry Jeudy to help at wide receiver. They're bringing in a couple running backs to help with that rushing offense, Nyheim Hines and Deonta Foreman. Neither one is an excellent fantasy option. You may get some 1 or 2 starts out of them each year, but just covering for Nick Chubb and kind of keeping things moving, they're decent additions. These are good NFL players, which I just define as they can keep an NFL job, not great fantasy options. 2024 draft, they're bringing in an offensive lineman to help with the interior. They already have a great interior, and if we have a healthy, if their tackles are healthy, I think they're pretty good on the line.
Yeah, absolutely. And then as far as coaching changes, what is that looking like for the Browns over yonder?
Yeah, surprising. After 11 games and kind of piecing things together on offense, this offseason they fired their offensive coordinator and hired Ken Dorsey from the Bills, who had just been fired last year as well after a 5-5 start. So they were looking for change. I think the general consensus for the season was, hey, not bad considering when people talk about the Browns, but for them, people are still losing jobs for a playoff appearance and an 11-win season.
Right.
We'll see
Much
how
like
it
the whole
goes.
City of Cleveland, not bad considering. Not bad considering, So their offensive line 2023, like we said, was very, very hurt. Do you, looking past that, everybody comes back healthy, assume best possible scenario here, do you think Deshaun Watson is going to be anything of what he once was when he was on the Texans?
When I try to stat out this team, I have no idea. When he was playing last year, when he was playing last year, not good. No. And they don't really have many options, the Browns. They could blow things up like the Broncos have with Russell Wilson and just eat dead money. But Deshaun's contract is guaranteed for the next, I think, at least 3 years.
Yeah, I think it was like $3 billion and their souls, technically, if I remember correctly.
Yes. And it's not like with Russ, they can eat $100 million in dead cap or whatever the number. I'm guessing and kind of exaggerating here, but Deshaun is even more than that. So they're stuck with him if he's good or not. They brought in Jameis Winston to back him up. I'm not projecting that Jameis Winston is going to start games based on Deshaun's play, but Deshaun Watson has not been good for a while, so it's hard to project the rest of this offense around him.
And then same thing with Nick Chubb when a man gets his leg turned inside out and he looks like an ostrich. Do you think he's going to be back at 100% early in the season?
It's something that
I know you're a doctor, Jack. If you could just answer that for me real quick.
I'm certainly not a doctor, but basically at this point right now, late April, early May, when I'm starting to stat out teams for the year, like I don't know what to put for Nick Chubb, so I'll be watching as the offseason goes on. Is he practicing? How's he looking? It's really a big thing here for this offense. They've brought in guys that can fill roles and get snaps, but I'm not projecting Nyheim Hines or Deonta Foreman to really be difference makers.
No. I mean, kind of probably like Deontay Foreman, especially with the Bears last year. Like, yeah, he was good and he looked good in an NFL game, fantasy-wise. Wouldn't want to touch him with like a 10-foot pole, right?
I think he was usable for about 2 weeks,
Yeah.
and I think he was an okay running back, and I don't know how many teams want an okay running back being their guy each week. So we'll see where Nick Chubb ends up.
Yeah. Wide receiver-wise, Amari Cooper, Jerry Jeudy. Who would you take first if you had to draft one of those two?
Oh, I don't know what it would take for me to draft Jerry Jeudy.
Right.
Amari Cooper, I think he's gonna be, if you do an auction league, I think he's gonna be the best $4 wide receiver 2. I think every year people are sleeping on Amari Cooper and his production, and he's gonna give you kind of top tier wide receiver 2. That's what I don't see any reason for it to change. He wasn't really falling off last year. He's getting older, but he was old last year. I think he's just gonna stay pretty solid there. Jerry Jeudy,
solid. Stay pretty old.
Jerry Jeudy's going to stay pretty bad. I was a bit shocked that they traded for him. Maybe they have some grand plan for him, but if you're drafting Jerry Jeudy, it's going to be pretty cheap. And if it's not cheap, just get someone else.
Yeah. Yeah, there are other options, and he would probably still be available after the draft anyways.
Yeah.
Depending on how big your league is. David Njoku at the tight end position.
Yeah, he was usable to end the year with Joe Flacco. And a little bit before that he had one of his best years, 880 yards-ish. I'm rounding 6 touchdowns in 2023. The thing that gets me, though, is he has not been usable before that. David Njoku has been around on the Browns for many years. Last year was the best year that he's had for fantasy, and it was really about a 10-ish game stretch. Mm-hmm. He was 630 yards and 4 touchdowns in 2022, and generally unusable in the 5 years before that. So when you see that happen with tight ends, typically it doesn't repeat. So I personally won't be drafting him, but if someone else grabs him, he can be a usable option. I'm not going to stat him out as such, and probably won't be drafting him to be that again.
No, it seems like the Browns, as usual, is everything feels like a toss-up, and you have absolutely no idea what it's going to look like.
Yeah, with this team, with this team,
yeah,
is Deshaun going to play every game? Is he is he going to be good again? Can he run still? We don't know.
Yeah.
Will they have a great running back, or will they have Nyheim Hines and Deonta Foreman?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Exactly.
We haven't mentioned Jerome Ford at running back. I just want to mention he's still there. He's probably present. Not drafting him unless there is some big news that comes out over the summer about Nick Chubb.
Or about how Jerome got bionic legs.
Super legs.
Cooper, same thing. He's like a big receiver. He did really well for me in a few games, but it was like just absolute yo-yo play. It is what it felt like, of up and down. And you'd think with Joe Flacco coming in late in the season especially, he would want to have a consistent target, but that still really wasn't Amari. He didn't get a ton of touches every game.
No, I think a lot of that was Njoku, and it won't be Flacco again this year.
Yeah, exactly. R.I.P. Flacco. Back to the
I think
couch,
he's
brother.
on the. I think he's on the Colts to start
Is
right now.
he?
Yeah.
Holy shit. If you get signed off of the couch, what keeps you from just going back to the couch in hopes to get signed again? Like, who was the 75-year-old left tackle the Bears picked up and then the Eagles picked
Oh,
up? And then,
yeah. He just keeps
like,
coming back
if, yeah,
mid-season.
if you can just be on a lake for, 10 weeks and then show up out of shape and just keep getting a paycheck, why wouldn't you do that, Joe?
I don't know. We'd have to ask him.
I don't know. If
We'd
I
have
ever
to
find it,
ask
that'll
him.
be the first thing. Why get signed again, big guy? Just
Just
go to
wait.
CBS or something, and then just come on back.
Yeah, I think we'll cover him on next week when we go over AFC South because it's another like Anthony Richardson could get hurt, but that's not really
Yeah.
what we're talking about here.
Nah, I know what we're
Anything
talking about
else
here.
you want to cover on the Browns?
Cleveland Browns wouldn't touch them with a 5-foot pole right now. I mean, obviously we're several weeks out from any news really happening in the NFL, but this team is so all over the place. You don't know if they can score points or if they're not going to score points.
It'll
It's just something I
solidify
don't
over
really
the
know.
summer. I think we'll get a more clear picture of what this team will be and have a better gauge of the defense is still going to be good. Are they going to get to 11 wins? Are they going to take a major step back? We'll see as the summer plays out. This is one of the teams that I think we just don't know right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Browns, who the hell knows?
Who the hell?
Who the hell? Who the hell knows? Who the hell cares? Who the hell knows? I miss Nick Chubb, though. That beautiful, beautiful boy. Oh, what a delight.